How much Super Bowl pressure is on Jalen Hurts this season?
A tremendous amount of pressure because these windows open and close very quickly. And even though he's a young quarterback and Howie Roseman has done a tremendous job in surrounding this team and reloading, going out to get a Jalen Carter to replace eventually Fletcher Cox, right? Guys are about to graduate outside of this program that's been around and was a part of the first Super Bowl. So when you think about Kelsey's not going to be there too much longer. This may be his last season as he tries to ride off into the sunset. Lane Johnson is a guy of a particular age. So you have to take advantage. We know that you don't pay two receivers $20 million apiece, and Devontae Smith is going to be up for a new contract. So the pressure to win is now. He's got the bag, and eventually when quarterbacks get paid, you have to start saying goodbye to some of your young, talented players because you can't afford to retain them. We've seen this over and over again, and one of the most recent examples of that is the Buffalo Bills. Because we look at, a couple years ago, the window was wide open, right? Josh Allen hadn't got paid, and they were able to go out and get pieces that you need. Eventually, you got to pay the piper, and they'll be there not this year, but in a couple of years. So win now because you never know what other team window is about to open.
Nothing happens, though, to me. I mean, I understand what you're saying, Devontae Smith. They could pick up his fifth-year option, so he would be good through 2025. A young player. All the key pieces on this Eagles team, very young. Obviously, Jalen in his mid-20s, A.J. Brown in his mid-20s, his line in front of him, super young. Most of these guys, the skill position guys, all the big-name ones, locked up through 2024 at least. So if they don't win now, what actually happens to this team, right? I mean, this team proved itself last season. It's a team we saw in the Super Bowl. And okay, so that would be the only component of this. But are you sure that's going to happen just because they don't win now? They don't win a Super Bowl yet? Because this window, again, for all of these other players, an entirely stacked team, is long. And it feels wide open to me, at least for multiple more years.
But it's not just Jason Kelsey. It's Fletcher Cox. It's Brandon Graham. Like all these guys, like Lane Johnson, like all these guys that we were waiting in this offseason to see, are they going to come back? Whew, thank God they came back because this team is special. So it's not just one guy. I will say that Jalen will put tremendous pressure on himself. That's the reality. The key that I look at is that lock screen photo that he's upset even got out. But the fact that his lock screen photo is him with the confetti and all that after they lost, like that's the kid who's a year removed from people wondering, can he even be the quarterback of this team?
Yeah.
Like we went into last season saying, I don't know what Jalen Hurts is, but he's got talent, but let's see him do it. And on this desk, I took a lot of heat for saying that Jalen Hurts, to me, is the most disrespected player in the NFL, QB in the NFL, because even after reaching the Super Bowl, having an MVP caliber season, outplaying Mahomes in the Super Bowl, the question was still for a lot of people, can he do it again? I mean, he only did it once. I mean, does he really elevate the guys around him? I mean, credit to Howie Roseman for putting all the pieces. Like Jalen, I could have won a Super Bowl with all the but here's at some point, Jalen Hurts has answered every single question that everybody has asked of him, and he's proven it beyond a shadow of a doubt. And people still wonder, can he do it? Is he that good? Is he as good as so and so and so and so? So when you say, well, what's going to happen? Super Bowl windows don't stay open forever. This is a team, yes, they've added some pieces, but a lot of what makes them who they are is about to end their career very soon in the next couple of years. They're going to retire, and it's a completely different team. And Howie Roseman has been great about stocking the cupboard with groceries, but at the same point, you can't always do that. And so when you have a team this good, this special, a quarterback this special, you got to win now. So there's a tremendous amount of pressure, but we don't need to say that. Jalen Hurts understands that. Jalen Hurts is the one who's in that building, who said literally, he said in the broadcast leading up to last night's preseason game, I could have gone 0-20. It doesn't matter because I didn't win a championship. That's his mindset. So it doesn't matter what we say. He thinks there's tremendous pressure.
Well, and no fan base is warmer and fuzzier and more understanding than the Philadelphia Eagles. I was one of those people that dared to question whether Jalen's going to be able to get it done again because there are changes on this team this season. That's what happens, right? When you make a Super Bowl, typically, like your coordinators are so good, they're going to get head coaching jobs, right? And some of these defensive pieces are going to end up leaving. Offensively, they kept a lot of those pieces intact. I understand the concern. Kelsey's 35 years old, so certainly he could retire after the season, something he's been flirting with. But Mulata, 26 years old, Dickerson, 24 years old. They started in that Super Bowl. Lane Johnson, 33 years old. I mean, the rest of this line in front of Jalen isn't that old. I guess a credit here to Philadelphia, who's very mad at me right now. I believe in Jalen Hurts to the extent that I do think that he will be in a position to compete for Super Bowls beyond just this season. I think this team has taken a little bit of a step back this season. I don't expect them to be able to, frankly, do it this season. But to me, that's not about Jalen Hurts. It's about the other pieces, and that always happens each and every season.
You got to strike when the iron is hot. And the reality is, this is probably the weakest the NFC has been in a very long time. When Tom Brady retired, it became weakened. We don't know if Matthew Stafford, they're rebuilding. They only have the San Francisco 49ers, and we don't know who their quarterback is to compete with. So if you can't beat those quarterbacks, eventually some good quarterbacks are going to come into the NFC that you got to compete with. And guess what? Those new quarterbacks, let's say Caleb Williams comes in and he goes to the Arizona Cardinals and they're rebuilding in the next couple of years. They're able, because you have a cheap quarterback, you have the ability to go out and get veterans and stack the deck. We know once you pay the quarterback, you start losing pieces. And, the reality is you have to strike now, because right now the varsity in the NFL is the AFC. So even if he gets there, Jalen Hurts may be looking at a superior quarterback on the other sideline.
Who is the better team, the Eagles or the Cowboys?
Oh, this is the opportunity for me to just make Philadelphia so much more happy with me today, right? Hi, Eagles fans. Yeah, it's the Cowboys. It's the Cowboys this season. And I know that's shocking.
Cowboys what?
It's the Cowboys.
It's what? I don't understand. I'm sorry.
Wait, what's the question again?
Who is the better team, the Cowboys
So she's saying the Cowboys are
the
the better team.
The Cowboys over the Eagles this season. We're not talking 2022. Where they split that series. We're talking 2023 moving forward.
Can I ask a question? I know you're the host.
In the top two teams here, right, in this division, only one of them lost 7 starters. And it wasn't named the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay,
no, everyone forgets that. Javon Hargrave goes over to the 49ers.
But you were literally just talking about the Eagles Super Bowl window being,
because this season, I'm talking this season, I think the Eagles Super Bowl window is still open for the longevity of Jalen's career, because I believe in Jalen Hurts as a player. I believe that we've seen the Patrick Mahomes of the world, the Josh Allens of the world, all these young quarterbacks that we see get paid. Yes, we just saw Jalen get paid. I know that always is a concerning thing when you're in a salary cap sport, but I do believe that in that coaching staff, in that organization, that they'll be able to still compete during the rest of Jalen Hurts' very long, as I expect, career in the NFL. We're talking 2023. In 2023, Bart, the Cowboys, they are stacked, and that schedule's a lot easier than the Eagles.
So this is an exercise that football players do in the locker room all the time, and it's like, who would you rather? Right? So let's play this game of who would you rather.
That's a good one.
Okay, so let's play who would you rather have? Would you rather have the cornerbacks for the Philadelphia Eagles, or would you rather have the corners for the Dallas Cowboys?
Okay, but here's
no.
the thing.
Don't ask the question with a question. Don't ask the question with a question.
Because for me, it all comes down to this.
Or no.
Who would I rather schedule-wise? That's what it comes down to for me.
No, because eventually they're going to pay each other.
Right. Well, and they played each other last season, and by the way, split that series. Backup quarterbacks, though, I'll toss that out the window.
Who would you rather? Answer the question, because I want to get Philadelphia back pissed off at you, and I want Dallas bad at you.
I don't need any more smoke in my mentions from Philly fans at MW Sports, by the way. Bring it, Philadelphia.
Jalen Hurts or Dak Prescott? You haven't answered one question yet.
I will say Jalen Hurts.
Okay. So the offensive line of the Philadelphia Eagles or the offensive line?
Obviously Eagles.
Okay, wait, I want to ask a question, because the question is, who is the better team this season? It doesn't say who has the better, who's going to have the better schedule, who's going to have the better season.
But that all factors in.
Overall.
But that factors into this conversation.
That difference is, and just so you know, I'm sure you know I'm not saying that, but the difference in opponents are only usually about 3 teams.
It's like the same schedule.
Right, it's the same schedule except for 3 teams.
I understand that, but except for it is compared to last season. The Cowboys also had a hard schedule last season.
Everybody in that division has a harder season because they're playing a different
the Eagles had the easiest schedule in the entire NFL last season by win percentage. And then we saw them playing an overrated Giants team, and by the way, a San Francisco 49ers team that Christina and I could have been playing quarterback for at the end of that game because they were so desperate.
You still haven't picked one Dallas player yet.
Well, okay. We could easily talk about the D-line in Dallas. I mean, there are pieces.
So
there
Jalen
are
Carter,
pieces.
who led the league in sacks last year?
Okay, but there are pieces.
Daniel
Let's
Graham,
not pretend.
Nolan Smith.
Let's not pretend like
Fletcher
this Cowboys
Cox.
team isn't stacked as well with
They
talent.
couldn't stop the
This
run last
Cowboys
year
team
either.
is stacked on both sides of the ball. That Eagles defense lost 5 starters
Brandon
on
Cooks,
defense.
Devontae Smith, but they replaced them with a first-round draft pick
2
and Jalen
coordinators,
Carter.
both of their coordinators
But
as well.
If Jalen Carter wouldn't have the controversy he had, would he not have been the #1 pick in all of the NFL draft?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Was
Hargraves,
he?
I'm not concerned with that because I know the
The
talent.
talent
I'm talking about the
is
talent.
top pick.
Okay, you lost Edwards, right? With N'Kobe
talent
Dean,
is there from
right?
college.
So N'Kobe Dean, if
What
he,
I've seen from Micah is in the NFL, right?
that's one player.
So
You're naming individual players. If we go down this team individually, I mean, both of
Michael
these teams are
Parsons,
loaded.
the only
Do you not
player
think
that
the
you would
Cowboys
pick.
are loaded with talent this season?
They are
On
loaded
paper,
with talent.
on paper.
Yeah, but they're not.
Okay.
But they're not better.
So what are
than,
we talking about?
But they're not better than Philadelphia in any position outside of pass rusher and Michael Parsons.
Except for I think that they're going to end up being better than Philadelphia this
Okay,
season
so
because of the
So you
situation.
think you're going to end
Jalen
the season,
now all of a
they're
sudden
going to have a
comes in
better
with
season
expectation.
overall, but they're not necessarily a better
They're
team.
going to end up well, who's a better team coming off of last year? Because this is they each won a game against each other, right?
Philadelphia.
They were pretty even there in the regular season. It's obviously Philadelphia from last year because we know the results. We're taking the season as a whole.
Yeah.
So it's easy in hindsight to say Philadelphia was the easier or the better team last season. I'm
They're the
saying that's
deeper
what we're going to be
team.
saying.
They're the deeper
At
team,
the
too.
end, they are the deeper team. I'll give you
talk
that.
about
They
offensive
do
line
have more
health.
depth.
Tyrann Smith is going to miss his annual 5 games a year, right? You understand that, right? Like we know,
We'll see.
like they're trying to
We'll see.
replace Pollard and Deuce Vaughn. Like, come on, man. We already know what's happening.
I mean, because, Amber, we've done radio. We've sat on this desk. We have talked about how it is so difficult to even forecast what the Cowboys are. We agree that Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than Dak. And yet, here you sit, telling us that the Cowboys are the better team. I'm not saying, like, they have talent. I give you that. But when you look at an Eagles team, despite losing the starters, you'd start off the show naming reasons why you believe in Jalen Hurts and why their window is wide open. I don't understand why the window is open.
What's the window for the
except
Cowboys?
for this year? Like, why? I just don't understand.
The window for the Cowboys
Is what?
I mean, do you think that they don't have a possibility of competing here in this conference? The
we are
Cowboys,
down to
when
a
you
possibility.
When you look at the no, but I mean, it's the window. Like they're not. They haven't been a Super Bowl team.
Who has the 14%? I'm sorry.
It's definitely the
forgot.
Eagles. It's
I'm
the
like
Eagles.
Dory.
Chiefs
I got
right behind
no
them.
short Tory.
But do you think that the Cowboys have a Super Bowl window? And what does that look like?
Yeah, I think the Cowboys could compete for a Super Bowl. On paper, they should. They should have been able to, frankly, last season. But yes, if Dak protects the football, if we're not seeing 15 interceptions from him, if they can stay healthy, they should be able to compete for a Super Bowl.
What's the reports? Dak is being aggressive down the field. That doesn't mean less interceptions. That means more interceptions.
Although
More
typically
chances.
when that man throws a lot of interceptions, the next season he does clean it up.
To be
And he
fair
has
to
said
Dak,
that
last
he
year
is
was a
cleaning it up.
complete aberration. He has always protected the football
Yes.
in his career.
Who's
So,
the
And
Who's the
stemming back
coordinator?
to his career in college.
Shotty.
Who's the coordinator?
Shotty.
Yeah, we know Shotty very well around here. We
know-
got Shotty and Mike McCarthy. You fired your coordinator because he scored too much.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.